Today I have an unreleased review of the new Huion Pro 13. We're going to take a look at it in a second.
Damn, another day in the life. I ain't getting out of bed today. Keep waking up from the previous night.
Let's unbox this bad boy. Nope, wait a minute. Let's go over some specs first. So this is your active area, 11.5 by 6.5 inches. Resolution is going to be 1080p. Your display type is an IPS. They're claiming 120% sRGB, which translates roughly into about 92% Adobe. Your pen we'll take a look at. It's battery free. Your pen pressure is 8,192 levels of pressure. This pen does have tilt sensitivity, fantastic. Express keys, 4 on the display, 1 touch bar, that's the express Philly bar thing. The display itself is not a touch display, and it has a full laminated screen. So, fantastic stats right off the bat. Let's take a look. Removing the box top reveals the tablet. We're just going to put this aside for a moment. Taking out the separator, and it reveals the box contents. Little instruction manual card. Warranty card. It looks like there are places for different plugs, I guess depending on what region you are. I'm in the US, so they sent me a US plug. This is interesting. They included an actual tablet stand, unlike Wacom and Cintiq that do not do that. We'll show that in a moment. The stand itself, again, really easy. This guy offers multiple positions because it has these 2 arm bars, and then it has 3 different settings. So that's going to be 9 right there, right? And then obviously you put it flat. So I want to say that's about 10 settings. That's more than some of the competition at higher prices. And I found this stand is really nice. So this guy just flips out, and that's where the tablet's going to rest. And then it has these rubber strips where the tablet really doesn't move. What I like it is, if you have any other devices, you can repurpose this thing to hold like an iPad or, you know, something like that if you're just reading or viewing. I like the ability or the, I guess the option to use it for other devices as well. Rest of the AC adapter. Just pops in here like this. And if you want to change it, you just push that button right there. Connector cables, we'll talk about that in a minute. A microfiber cloth. Some more instructions. The donut is 1 counterclockwise away from your spare nibs, and the nib remover is actually in here as well. So it's a nice compact design. Hold your pen, that's about it. But I like the design, it's balanced pretty well. If you look at a typical pen design, I'm always knocking these damn things over because of the shape of them. The donut design here allows you to just kind of put it on your desk and leave it alone. Underneath it has a little bit of like a rubber grip to it, so it doesn't really move either, which is really nice. The pen itself, also a great design. It has 2 programmable keys on it. At the end, feels very similar to like a Wacom pen in thickness, but the pen itself is more lightweight. What's interesting is towards the end of the pen, it sort of tapers off. And in your hand, if you could see here, what that does is it allows it to rest in your hand a little bit more differently than a thicker pen, which sort of can affect your strokes and your line weights and stuff like that. So when using it, it was really interesting to see how light and comfortable it felt, and how effortlessly it was really to make clean strokes. The tip itself does have just a slight bit of movement into it. Meaning, this is a question I get asked a lot. Does the tip move in and out? This one does. I don't know if I can capture that on the camera a little bit. But along with the pressure sensitivity, I didn't feel any kind of issues with getting a clean stroke, and we'll show that later. So if that's a plus or minus for you, for me it was nothing. I couldn't tell the difference. Now immediately I have some good impressions here. I really like this connector cord. Here's a closer look at the tablet. You can see it's a very sleek design. It's very thin. Normally these have a stand attached to the back of them, which increase the thickness, but Huion has taken the stand and made it separately. It's extremely lightweight. You could easily fit this into a backpack or something like that if you're on the go, but I'm really impressed with just how sleek and how well the construction really is. The tablet itself only has one connection, one input, and that's a USB-C, which the I guess the AV and power cables both plug into. We'll show that later. And all you're really going to do is you're going to take this connection cable, and it pops in just like that. And that's it. It's complete. If we look at the other end of the cable and we check out the connections, we can see it's HDMI. Okay, so no messing around with conversion cables or any other nonsense like that. It's a USB-A port. Okay, so that's going to be for your data. And then you're going to plug in the power just like that. So it doesn't get any simpler than that, folks. No conversion, no other cables, one cable to the tablet, and you're good to go. So immediately, I like the portability aspect of it is because I can plug this into one thing and then the other cables into my laptop and I'm done. I don't have to worry about conversion boxes or any kind of other utilities I need to get this tablet to run. The Pro 13 has 4 programmable express keys. It also has a touch strip slider. This is not programmable, but this is for your zoom, your brush size, and things of that nature. These other two, the top one's power, and the other one is cycling the different functions of the touch strip. And again, this one is also not programmable. So I've got my cables connected. I have my HDMI into my NVIDIA 1060 video card, and the USB-A is in the back of my PC tower. And now we're going to test the startup. So that is amazingly fast, pretty good. We can see already the 1080p IPS screen is bright and colorful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to some applications and just get some initial tests and share the screen, and we can see how this thing performs for first impressions. So quick run through of the driver of the Huion tablet software. So in the About tab, we have where we can reset back to default, where we can export and import our configuration, apply OK. And this button here is if the driver for some reason is not prompting to run in admin mode or whatever it is, it needs to do its job. So you can press that button. I didn't need that. This work area I was in a little bit. The one issue I did have out of the box, and remember this is not released yet, is that it seemed to not like my extended display setup for some reason. So when I was in extended mode, it was getting a little confused, and I had to go in here and actually set which display I wanted and so forth and so on, and then run it in full to make everything happy. And then my finally the monitor calibration, which I'm not going to run now. It's a 9-point monitor calibration. It was a little flaky, but I reached out to Huion. They sent me another driver, or the newest driver, or whatever, and all those problems went away. So for the pen, this is where you have your pressure adjustment and your pressure test, and also where you can configure your buttons on your pen for shortcuts. Enables Windows Ink. So in the newer builds of Windows 10, I think since the Creator update, your pressure is not going to work right in a lot of applications without that Windows Ink checked. I'm not really sure what game mode does. I mean, I'm not using it, so I'm not gaming. But even in Sketchbook Pro, I couldn't get pressure without this. Finally, the top button is to configure your express keys. So out of the box, they're set for, like brush size and the hand tool and stuff like that, spacebar. So, and this button is a little deceiving. It's called Enable Touched. The display itself is not a touch display. What they mean is the actual, the strip here. So if that's not turned on, your strip's not going to work. If anyone has followed any of my reviews, I like to open up Sketchbook Pro just for a quick general idea of how the pen performs, or the tablet performs. And right off the bat, I have to say, this definitely doesn't operate like I would say the previous battery models of any type works, really. You see how the cursor just slides behind just a tiny little bit? That's characteristics of an EMR tablet, which I'm happy about, because initially off the bat, I'm getting very Wacom-like levels of pressure. In fact, it's that's only going to come through probably on my screen grab and not on the camera, but this is actually almost ridiculous. And the cursor is right underneath the pen, so I'm not seeing, well, let's see here. You know, my EMRs typically have problems with the corner accuracy, and I'm not having that either. So far, first impressions, really surprising. So we're going to just start with some circles so we can see how fast this guy keeps up. And what I'm doing is I'm starting light and I'm ending strong just to get an idea of the pressure curve. And we haven't played around with this thing or anything, and I mean, I'm getting right off the back 4 different, you know, grades without even trying. And because the camera's behind me, I'm actually at a bit of a disadvantage when I'm drawing, but the pressure sensitivity of this pen is bananas. I mean, this blows any battery unit I have, I mean, completely out of the water. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So I'm barely touching. This is what we refer to as, if you hear some, you know, EMR snobs talk about initial activation point, what they're really referring to is putting a pen to the tablet and how long between, you know, well, how much pressure does it take for the tablet to actually register the stroke? And this is crazy. And if you look here, what I'm trying to do, now that's my hand, is I'm looking to see if I get any kind of shoelace effect, really, and I'm not getting it. I mean, you can count that there, but that's more because my hand is at a bad angle. But what you're looking for in these, what you're looking for is in these longer strokes, you know, when you come out there, look at the gradient of that stroke. This is wonderful. All right, so we're going to get out of, we don't have any pen line smoothing on either, folks. So these lines that you're seeing, I mean, this is like the real deal. And if you look at that, and again from the screen grab, these lines aren't getting jitter at all. All right, so I'm in the newest version of Photoshop, and using the touch strip, you can see how smooth the zoom in, zoom out is. We're just going to do some light to dark cross-hatching here. So we're just going to do some really light cross-hatching here. And this pen is so sensitive. It's literally, there's actually strokes in there, and it's picking them up. So this would probably be the first time that I could say, I've only tested one other device that has 8,000 levels of pressure, and this is probably the first time I could actually feel it really. And this is just Kyle's pencils. They're built into the new, newest version of Photoshop. Alright, so we've opened up a new document here. I don't really think I need to test the pressure anymore. But what we want to do is test the line stabilization. This is a dead brush, just a dead weight brush. And there is literally no jitter on these lines. And this is the infamous, you know, diagonal lines as well, which is where you typically see the problem. You know, look at that. There's nothing there. No line jitter at all. I mean, I was going to do, oh, well, what the hell, we'll do it. So what the hell, let's just do the ruler test. Yeah, that's nuts. Those lines are perfectly straight. What I've done here is I've just switched to one of Kyle's, standard inking brushes. And I just want to test one more time. This is right out of the box. No smoothing, nothing like that. And we are getting amazing, amazing levels of pressure. Amazing. Alright, really quick in Clip Studio Paint, aka Manga Studio. Now, Clip Studio Paint has line smoothing built into it, depending on the brush. So, I don't want to spend too long here. It's just people ask me, hey, did you test it with Clip Studio Paint? Yes, I did. So, we're just going to go in here really quick. And again, similar results. I mean, line quality is just fantastic. No shoelace effect at all, and just like the other programs, this is a custom brush, but you could see just absolutely spectacular results. As I'm doing this, the pen feels great in my hand, like I talked about before. It seems to rest between my thumb, differently than like a fat pen would all the way through. If the pen was so fat, it sits more like this, but I really like the way this feels. When I first took it out of the box, I was like, that's kind of strange, but now that I'm using it, it looks great. And the tilt function works good. I mean, it's just as good as anything else. So you can see how far down I have the pen. And it's really registering. I mean, I'm on an angle too, but I mean, at this point, I'm almost flat, and it's still registering. Make sure you don't use your Huion tablet without your official Huion branded Smudge Guard glove, because it says Huion, and that makes it dope. I'm just kidding. You can use any glove. Overall, I am extremely, extremely impressed by this tablet. And for the price point, right now, a sub $400 tablet that performs just as well as anything in the competition at any price point is extremely impressive. Huion has been making these tablets, for years now, and they have bridged the gap tremendously between, the so-called top-end manufacturers and the so-called knockoffs. I don't consider Huion a knockoff anymore. They've carved out their own name. They've carved out their own space. And I had a very hard time, if any, difference, being able to tell the difference between the pressure sensitivity in this pen compared to, a Wacom or something like that. It's batteryless, 8,000 levels of pressure. At the price point, maybe, at any price point, you're not going to beat anything like this. I honestly don't have any complaints. Like I mentioned initially, again, this is not released and I'm testing, and I had some minor issues with, I guess, the driver with dual displays, and reached out to Huion support, just like anybody else would, and over Skype, they within a day, I sent them a video and they sent me a new driver that resolved the issue. So you just can't get better than that, folks. Huion is making huge strides here in the tablet market, and I look forward to following their progress and reviewing any more products they make in the future. If you like this video and you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little bell for a reminder whenever I do a video. These things don't pay for themselves, so help out where you can, folks, will you? Thanks again for viewing. Another day, keep waking up from the